Hello everyone, welcome to my first webisode of the Turbo Civic Coupe build. I hope that this is going to be one of many webisodes basically documenting the build of my car. I mean, back in the day everyone used to use forums. I'm kind of trying to just share with everyone my experience, because not everyone uses forums these days. Facebook is another kind of big out there in the world of social. So yeah, the car itself is a Honda Civic Coupe LS model. Over in the States they've got various stages like LX, DX, EX. Basically just take the poverty spec of whatever those is, but mine luckily comes with power windows, electric mirrors, power steering, a sunroof, yep, no aircon, no AC, but in the lovely land of Great Britain we don't need it that often. The engine, right, so the engine that's currently in the car is a D16Y7. Now, for those of you who are not in the Honda game, or don't know your Hondas, a D16Y7, put simply, is a 1.6 litre single overhead cam engine. It's a non-VTEC model. VTEC yo! Yeah, so doesn't come with VTEC. The engine that's going to be going in is a D16Z6. So again, this is a single overhead cam VTEC model of my current engine. However, it comes from the earlier Civic hatchback, and also the Del Sol or the CRX Gen 3. So the Del Sol CRX from kind of 92 to 95, or again the Civic from 92 to 95, which I believe is the ESI model. Over in America, which is where I've got most of my inspiration from, they're running ridiculous power, especially for a single cam. Yeah, so this is literally just going to be talking you through what I've done so far. Okay, so far I have taken the engine. I bought this engine back in 2014, September 2014. We are now in February 2016, nearing March. The engine was already kind of dismantled. The head was completely apart. The block was a mess. I believe it was a previous head gasket failure engine. And the previous owner before me kind of decided the D series was just not the route he wanted to take, and decided to buy a B18C from an Integra. Okay, so you're probably thinking, why would you go through all of this effort for a D series? Well, at the time I didn't have much money. It was literally going to be a budget build. Take this engine, strip it down, put stock pistons in it, stock piston rings, and basically just have a freshly built engine, whack a turbo on there. These engines can handle safely around 225 brake. They've been known to push 250 onwards, but that's when they become unreliable. So 225 is a nice and stable figure. So what I've done to the engine so far is full rebuild. However, as I started to take things apart, realised things were missing, especially from the head. I had 4 valves missing, valve springs, retainers, collets and all that lot. So it just made more sense for me to just get another head and just rebuild that. Picked this head up off of my friend Jordan. He was at the time building a Z6 as well, but then decided to not go down that route. So luckily for me, managed to pick this head up, pick the head up, brought it home, freshly tore it all down. Again, there was a couple of things missing, but luckily 1 + 1 makes 2. So excuse me, managed to kind of combine the missing parts from, the still there non-missing parts from each head, and built one complete one. I've still kept the original head That in future will be ported and polished. Bigger valves, titanium springs, titanium retainers, obviously titanium valves, and probably like a stage 2 or maybe a stage 3 Crower cam, or Crower, however you want to pronounce it. Cool. So the block. Ooh, it's cold in here. Right. So the block side of things. Eventually, I realised that I needed some form of a budget, and what I initially set out to do, to what I have done, is like so far apart. It's ridiculous. So originally, I wanted to go down the stock route. However, reading up on forums, I thought, do you know what? I might as well take the plunge. I'm going to spend all this time and effort stripping it down, rebuilding it, putting it together, blah, blah, blah. So I went over to this site called P2PO over in America, and you can buy a full kit, and this kit comes with YCP Suzuki Vitara 75.5mm pistons. So the stock piston is a 75mm piston. However, because I've got no history with the engine, just bore out the cylinder walls to make them bigger, and basically then I know that they're perfectly like cylindrical, and you know, more power hopefully. Because the YCP Vitara pistons are short, have got a smaller dome than stock, it drops the compression ratio from 9.2 to around 8.1, and that's using a stock rod. So to combat this, P2PO have machined their own rod, and what this is I think it's like around 2mm longer than stock, and they also send you out a set of ACL bearings. I believe the ones that I got were standard. You can get like the race version. I believe there isn't a lot of difference in them, but yeah, so that got sorted out on the block. So the block's running 75.5mm pistons, custom length rods, ACL bearings, stock crankshaft, and a brand new fresh oil pump from Honda, and that really took a dent to the wallet. So that's that on the block side of things. On the head, like I said before, it's a completely stock head, not really done anything to it. I've had it skimmed to make sure it's absolutely flat. What else have I done? Oh, rebuilt it myself at home, just to, again, to try to keep the cost down, because there is some form of a kind of elemental budget to this. So I lapped the valves, cleaned them all up, cleaned the head, you know, fresh seals on everything, put that together. Then on the fueling side of things, I've got RC550cc injectors, which are then mounted to a Works Engineering high flow fuel rail. I've also got an AEM fuel pressure regulator to go on there, and then on the intake I've got a stock D16Z6 intake that has been mated with a 60mm Honda CRV throttle body, because the D, B, H and F, I believe, share like the same pattern on the throttle bodies. Don't quote me on that. I know the D and the B do, and I think some of the H and some of the F series engines also work. Being that the stock port size is 56mm, the Honda CRV throttle body is actually 60mm, so grabbed the carbide bit, drilled all that out to port match. That is then mated with a is it thermostatic? No. Anyway, it's a heat resistant gasket. It's a thermo gasket. There we go. Finally figured it out. So that's the intake and the fueling side of things on there. On the exhaust side of things, I've got, I believe this is just an eBay tubular manifold. I can't confirm whether this is. I'm just going off of kind of the look from what I've seen on images. I actually picked this up off of my friend Brad for rather cheap, so I've whacked that on. I've also got a cast iron manifold just in case this one decides to crack for whenever. And then again, once I've got the money, I'll probably upgrade this to like a 1320 or a BWR, either a ram horn style or a top mount. Cool. So, turbo side of things, I've got a nice little, well, I say little, it's quite big. It's a Garrett T350 trim turbo. I can't give you the inducer and the exducer sizes because I haven't physically split the turbo unit yet. It's not come to that stage. However, I can tell you that the previous owner of the turbo was running 306 at the wheels on a B16. Whether that was an A or an A2, I don't know. Probably an A2, judging by how common they are over here. So, yep, that's the turbo. On the wastegate, obviously, because this particular Garrett turbo is not internally gated, so you've got to run an external gate. I managed to pick up a tile or teal, however you want to say it, teal sport 38mm wastegate, and I believe it comes with a stock pressure spring, which is 0.6 bar, or for those of you that are using PSI, it's around 8.6, 8.7. I believe it might even be closer to 9 PSI. So that's when it will kind of go psh. Nope, that's the blow-off valve. Screamer pipe's completely different, ignore that. But on the subject of blow-off valve, thanks to my mate Mike, I managed to, well, he managed to send me a Forge Motorsport blow-off valve, confusing the two. So I've got a nice blow-off valve to go over there. I haven't split that open yet because I've just not had the time. So I don't know what spring's in it. Once I find out what the spring inside it is, we'll be all good to go. Also got over there a Mocal oil cooler, which is going to be then mated to the back of the block via a thermostatic sandwich plate. Again, just to keep oil levels down. I know in England it's not going to get very hot. However, if I do decide to do a track day, I've got that reassurance that if the oil levels do kind of reach a higher temperature, I've got something there to kind of prevent that. Yeah, and as far as the engine goes, that is it. I mean, I've got a few bits and pieces to do still, even though it's kind of like, as you can see, near enough built. I've still got to tap the rocker cover to fit two AN fittings to the oil breather tank. On the sump, I've still got to tap another hole for the turbo oil return feed, and on the rear I need to weld on a fitting for the gauges. I've got oil temperature, oil pressure, and obviously boost gauge. Yeah, so that's where I'm at. I mean, I have been working on other bits as well, and that will hopefully be on episode 2. I hope I haven't bored you to death. If you want to see more videos like this, please do subscribe. You know, I mean, I'll keep doing this because I want to do it. I want to be able to like grow old and say to my grandkids, "Oh, look at this! I built a race car when I was 20." Yeah, so for me, it's not really trying to big myself up. I just want something to be able to document it all on, and be able to kind of, you know, show my friends, show my family, show, you know, new people. And obviously, if the time ever comes to sell the car, I can just kind of look back at these videos, reflect, and go, yeah, you know, I've done that. This build has been very much about, I want to do as much as I can. You know, not all of us are kind of mechanically minded. From a very early age, I tinkered around with stuff and I wanted to rip stuff apart. You know, I've never really done anything like this kind of vlogging or vlogumentary. So yeah, this is all new to me. So if I kind of look stupid at doing some things, it's because I probably am. But yeah, so hopefully I will see you again for episode 2. Thanks guys, and yeah, like I said, subscribe, and I will be back again hopefully in a couple of days once I've finished off what I'm currently doing down here. Cool, see you later.